Morning, America and the world at large. Welcome back to Weird Wednesday on Baloney Brain. How are you? My compadre, John, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm Daryl, and I'm just peachy. I've had the best time in the last couple of days. I don't know if I told you or not, but my wife and her mother went away for a week, so I was like, I'm batching it. I'm having a good time. I went out drinking with some friends last night, had some cocktails, and heard some great music. Had a wonderful, wonderful day.
Great. Well, what do you have for us today?
Have I got? Well, last week I took Florida off the hook last week, but we've said many times nobody doesn't like Florida, and I love this story. This comes out of Ocala, which is up in Central Florida. If anybody or any of our listeners are from around the Kentucky area, Ocala is very much like the area around Lexington. Lots of beautiful horse farms and rolling hills and miles of white picket fences. And then they got the idiot criminals up there also. So these two guys broke into this beautiful house. They stole jewelry, electronics, and also two urns that held the remains of the lady's dearly departed husband and her two prized Great Danes. Well, these are stupid criminals, and when they looked in the urns, they thought they were ground up pills, so they snorted them.
Wow.
Oh, talk about a burn. So they got busted eventually. They went to court, and one of them told the judge, says, I wake up every day thinking about what I did.
I'm guessing so.
Wouldn't you? Oh,
absolutely.
I could just imagine. Oh, God, eyes watering, nose running. It must have been horrible.
Well, speaking of dumb criminals, a Texas burglary suspect was calling 911 on himself. He broke into a house in Texas. The homeowner wakes up, pulls a gun on him, and so the guy runs out of the house and locks himself in his car and calls the 911 operator. This guy's gonna shoot me.
Well, then they luck anyway, because he probably should have put him out of his misery. Too great. Well, how about this story? This comes out of St. Petersburg, which is up by Tampa. It's a beautiful area up there. So this guy has a lady friend over, and he says, would you mind getting me a beer out of the freezer? Well, she goes to the freezer, and she doesn't find any beer. And he comes back, and he says, no. He says, go back to the freezer. He says, there's some kittens in there. And she walks back over to the freezer, and she hears, meow, meow. And there are 4 kittens in there. One, unfortunately, did not make it. But they were all individually wrapped in sandwich bags.
Wow.
So she screamed, and he said, get out of here, and he threw her out. So she called the police. The police came back. One was beyond recovery, but the other 3 did survive. But what's this guy thinking? They taste like chicken? I don't get it.
Well, speaking of get me a beer, Vanessa Robinson was charged with aggravated assault after she allegedly cut her boyfriend James Galone multiple times after he tried leaving the apartment with the last beer.
Well, she was within her rights, I'm thinking.
A Colt 45 to be specific. This is according to the Huffington Post. But, she cut him in the belly, she cut him in the arms, all because he tried to take the last beer.
This is like Stagger Lee. I won't cut you, fool. Well, listen, before I get too far adrift from the cats, let me tell you about this. I read this one also, and I don't know if this is funny or not, but there's a new poll that came out. Let me find this story. I love this. There's an online retailer. They're called Swimwear 365, and they do swimwear, I'm assuming. Well, they did a poll of 2,000 women, and the poll showed that basically women, when they go to the beach, they check out the other women more than they check out the men. I think that's kind of a strange thing going on. But there was a whole things about what catches their eyes. They check out other ladies' hairstyles to see if their roots are showing. They check out their tans. They check out their weight and their cleavage. I think this just goes to prove the old saying that I always knew I was a lesbian. I did kind of the same thing. 1 in 10 of the women polled always wanted to look better than the opposition. Now, Cosmopolitan, if you Google this story, everybody's talking about this anyway. Cosmo had a little thing on it and said, as for the top things that they look for in other girls, clothes, shoes, bags, and boobs.
Wow.
I think it sounds like a country song, doesn't it? Clothes, shoes, bags, and boobs. I like it.
Absolutely. Well, you know, talking about women, a man impersonates a funeral director to try and steal the engagement rings from his deceased ex.
Oh, my, he should be shot.
So he shows up, you know, in a suit. Oh, I'm here representing the family. They want to get the engagement rings back. There's 2 rings. The funeral director at the funeral home became suspicious because apparently the guy didn't want to talk shop, and so he alerted police, and the guy was arrested. So
I can see this as like the old Addams Family. Lurch comes over. You run. Look, I got one more I want to share today because before I finish up my part here today, but because America, and we've talked about this a lot, America's having such terrible financial troubles, and our Congress is doing their typical lackluster job. I was talking to Spider McCluskey again this morning about how horrible this Congress is, and the fiscal cliff is approaching every day, and they're doing that. Well, it's not just America. Not just America, because in Swaziland, do you know where that is?
I'm not even sure where that is.
Well, it's in Africa. They're a member of their parliament down there because that's the kind of government they have. And I believe that's the last complete or honest monarchy down there. A member of parliament urged the government to hike taxes. They're trying to raise money here because they're broke. He wants them to hike taxes on traditional healers and soothsayers. What they're saying is they got a witch doctor tax down there. And they want to raise the money. The mediums are known as Sangomas or Sanjomas in this landlocked southern African nation, and they pay an annual, I should study my language, right? Amalgageni, I believe. It's about $1.15 in American money. They have a license fee, but the member of parliament, he said they've jacked up their fees 4 times in the last few years, but they should pay more because compared to how much money they're getting, because everybody goes to see these people, the amount of money they're getting is not being fairly distributed to the government at all. So the International Monetary Fund was called in to see if they can bail them out like they're helping in Greece and some other countries in Europe. The International Monetary Fund declined to launch a bailout because of the reluctance by King Mswati III, who has at least a dozen wives and I know, this is like, wait for it. He has at least a dozen wives and a personal fortune estimated at $200 million. But he doesn't want to cut royal or military spending. He wants to tax the witch doctors.
Well, I think that's that they've got a new healthcare system there. We need more witch doctors in America.
Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
Ooh, ee. Well, that does it for us here. We hope you've had fun on another Weird Wednesday. We are certainly digging our new software, and we hope you'll come back and see us real soon.
Have a great week, everybody.